Welcome back to this special edition of Around Oswego. I'm here again with Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Goewey. We are here today to give an update on the district's response to the coronavirus pandemic. So Dr. Guha, it's been over a month since the last time we recorded, the last time we were here. March 20th was our last show, and we were talking before, we would have been back to school twice by now, since the deadlines have been extended. So what's been the district's response since then, since it's been almost a month, or over a month?
Well, it's been hectic, and we just take it day to day. As you know, the governor changes his guidance. The health department has been very consistent in their guidance, and we just have evolved in the areas of food service and certainly in remote learning. We have boots on the ground every day in food service, and we have some hardworking folks that are working from the resource bank that we originally created on the website to a more Google platform, essential learning that will be rolled out next week.
Right. And you talk about the food service. It's been 6 weeks now, and it's still running pretty well.
Yes.
Has anything really changed, or is it still going pretty much as planned?
It's going very, very well. We had a few obstacles in the third or fourth week with supply of our prepackaged food products that we were relying heavily on, like Crustables and Lunchables, things like that, that just became in such demand that every district across the country were wanting those products. So our food service director and his staff quickly redirected their efforts, and we've moved to more homemade foods now, which is a little more labor intensive on the food service side with Matt and the cooks, but they're generating great meals like turkey dinners and chili and macaroni and cheese. And we're actually making our own Lunchables and packaging them similarly to what you might buy in the store, and the feedback from families has been tremendous. On that same note, I might want to also mention, as I mentioned in the board meeting last week, that Matt's working with the Northeast region of the American Dairy Association, and starting in the upcoming weeks, we're going to be distributing over 4,000 gallons of free milk across our district every week.
Wow.
And that's due largely to a partnership and the support of Eagle Beverage.
Right. That's amazing, really.
Yeah.
And a lot has been happening, obviously, but things seem to be looking up as the governor has plans now to open the state region by region. So I feel like it's important to just talk about what has been happening in Oswego County larger than just the district. So we've had 61 confirmed cases in Oswego County. 46 have recovered, and only, unfortunately, 2 deaths. But I mean, those numbers are relatively good. I mean, of course, there's nothing good about people dying, but those numbers are good considering what the state has seen. So what do you think? Where do you think we will be on the plan of reopening the state?
I think that it's encouraging that we see that the curve is flattened. The number of confirmed new cases is down across New York State. I think we as Oswegonians and members of the Oswego County region have been fortunate that we don't live in a highly populated urban setting. I think that has helped us tremendously. And I think our citizens and our students and our staff have done a great job of creating social distance, of sheltering in place at home, and trying to stay away from those highly populated areas. And because of that, our numbers are low. We can't be lulled into a sense of false comfort, though, and move into business as usual too quickly. So the next phases will have to be rolled out very methodically and very thoughtfully.
Exactly. I think one of the things that impacts me the most as a senior, of course, is we may not come back to school. But I know that now there's a new plan for learning and rolling out curriculum. So will you expand on that?
In the beginning, we moved to an enrichment and review resource bank under the red banner on our main website. That was due to the hard work of our teachers who worked hard to create enrichment activities that were easily accessible to students on the website, and also available in hard copy at our feeding sites for those families who didn't have access to technology. One of the reasons we didn't move to a more aggressive remote learning platform initially was because we are not a one-on-one device district, meaning like a Liverpool, for example, or a Baldwinsville already have a one-on-one learning platform in their district. Every student has a device. Oswego is not that district. So we had to do tremendous planning relative to finding out what the needs were of our families in terms of devices in the home, and then to plan for what our new Google platform might look like. We did our technology needs survey over the last few weeks. The response rate was about 60%, and we were able to determine the number of devices that were needed in families. And the plan is in place now for distribution this week of those devices. Next week, as I announced on my robocall on Friday, we're moving to a Google platform of more intense remote learning called Essential Learning. And that is, that would include a variety of things. Number one, all teachers would hold virtual office hours, 2 one-hour office hours a week. And on the district under Essential Learning, there will be folders for every grade level, every content, every specific course, where students will access particular assignments, and they will be engaging with their teachers either somehow through a Google Classroom platform. It could be through Google Meets for our 7th through 12 folks. It might be using shared in Google Docs, a whole host of things to make learning a little more intense than we originally started. But we believe that we rolled it out very thoughtfully and methodically with a mind on equity, always looking at equity. What's the opportunity? What opportunities can we present for our students in a fair and equitable way?
Right. And Dr. Goewey, as an OHS senior and in the New Vision program, I'm very familiar with Google Classroom and those online learning platforms. But for the parents that may not be as well versed in these platforms, can you give a little bit more information on how this is going to work, and also if there was any information you didn't include in your robocalls?
Yeah, for those high school kids that are engaged in AP or college-based classrooms, you're very familiar with this because those courses continued remotely anyways. Right. And so you know that. I think our high school students are probably more comfortable with Google platforms than many of their parents are. So we're generating an additional parent guidance document that I referenced in my robocall that will be coming out this week. But as an example, students in 7 through 12 will have an expectation to work for 40 to 60 minutes on any assignment for every content area throughout a week. So if you were a student that had math, English, social studies, science, and foreign language, you would have 5 40 to 60-minute blocks of instruction weekly and an assignment assigned. Additionally, those students might engage with their teachers through a Google Meets. They might be gathering information from a shared document, and then they'd be submitting things electronically to their teachers. For elementary, it would be different. In grades 3 through 6, they're using Google Classroom platform, and in K through 2, it would be a less demanding, less restrictive platform. But once again, all of those teachers would have office hours in order to engage with parents and students electronically or virtually. And that probably leads to some questions you have about grading. I did talk about grading, and I articulated it as clearly as I could. The state has been very clear that schools should make every effort to provide success for every child during this pandemic. It aligns perfectly to our philosophy of do no harm and certainly inclusivity. We're looking for every opportunity to provide every student in our district with a pass. The alternative to pass is uncertain. Maybe that student hasn't had an opportunity to demonstrate minimum competency, and so we would be uncertain if that student had passed. However, we can be assured that every teacher will make every effort to any student that wasn't in good standing on March 16th to help them provide evidence that they in fact are. Because we're hopeful that no student will fail, and there would be very few students that we're uncertain about. Right.
And can you provide a date for when this is all going to roll out, when this classroom is going to be accessible?
Yes. We did our technology needs survey, then we generated the guidance documents for teachers in elementary and secondary. Those were rolled out last week, and this week teachers are working hard to generate their new lessons. Many of them would be videotapes, and they're also reaching out to families starting this week students and families couldn't expect to get emails or messages from teachers. They might be testing a Google platform engagement with students, or they might be doing some other type of communication with families, because the new essential learning platform rolls out a week from today.
Wow. And classroom learning isn't the only unconventional thing that the district is rolling out now, but how about all these ceremonies that we're going to be missing out on, like prom, graduation, 100 days countdown, top 100 dinners? What are we going to do for all those things?
There is a lot of conversation behind the scenes on those things. What we're doing right now is we're trying to balance having a well-laid plan for doing hallmark things unconventionally with rolling them out too soon, because we don't want to get ahead of events and activities that may or may not be canceled. But you're right, 100 days to graduation celebration is a perfect example. At that breakfast, typically seniors receive the letters that they wrote to themselves as freshmen. I know that those were mailed out to students, and the feedback from students has been tremendous.
Yes.
They loved getting that. It was a sense of warmth and comfort that it provided. We are looking at alternative and creative ways to hold prom. We're looking at scheduling alternative dates, even as late as early August for graduation, whether it looks traditional or unconventional. Those things will happen. Certainly, they're planning for a remote National Honor Society induction. We are planning for those types of things. I know that there are other things that are being planned in terms of recognizing our graduating seniors and to provide them with some sense of, excitement or things that they can feel good about or look forward to.
And Dr. Guha, I have to say that the district has been doing an amazing job giving information to families with the robocalls, the emails, and everything. So I do need to thank you for that, because you've kept everyone in the loop, and I think that's one of the most important things, especially at a time of uncertainty like this.
Right. Well, I appreciate that. Sometimes I think to myself, am I bugging them? Am I giving them too much information? But the feedback from families has been so positive about feeding. It's been very positive about our enrichment portal that's been up for the last 6 weeks. And most families and staff members encourage me to continue to send those robocalls, however long they are, because it makes them feel connected and it provides a sense of calm.
I definitely think there's not too much information that you can give at this point, because everyone just wants to know what to do next.
Right,
but, yes, thank you so much for coming in and doing this again. I think it's very important, again, that everyone's informed.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we'll be doing another episode of these. Thank you, Dr. Guha, for coming in.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon.